News fans, it's about that time. 7:40 on a Thursday night. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Once again, it's always a pleasure and an honor to be in front of the best fans in the NFL, the faithful, the Niner Empire. My apologies for the delay. Had a few technical difficulties. That's why I didn't start at 7:30. But I appreciate everyone joining me tonight. Hopefully, everyone is having a excellent Thursday night. Hopefully, all is well. Tomorrow is a payday Friday. Ain't nothing better than a payday Friday. And we have some great football coming up between obviously the 49ers and the Seahawks. The 49ers have to travel down to Seattle. That's never an easy place to play. And that's going to be a hell of a game. I think we are meeting the Seahawks at the perfect time, faithful. The Seahawks are in complete disarray from top to bottom. Who knows the future of Pete Carroll? Who knows if he'll be coaching the Seahawks next year? Who knows the future of quarterback Russell Wilson? Obviously, he's the greatest quarterback in Seahawks franchise history, but there's rumblings that he wants out. The Seahawks have, lost the last three games. Russell Wilson is coming off of an injury to his middle finger on his throwing hand. So this team just is in disarray, and I think the 49ers, we're meeting them at the perfect time. We've obviously won three games in a row. Defense has been playing much better than in previous games. The offense is flowing, especially with Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. So I would definitely say we have great momentum heading into this game. And we're treating this game as the rest of the games as a one-game playoff, because in order for us to get into the playoffs, we have to win each and every game. And shout out to everyone watching Jay and the Bay Facebook, Jay and the Bay YouTube, and Jay and the Bay Twitter. Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight on a Thursday night. Let's say what's up to the MVPs who are in the chat right now, because without them, this show would not be as fun, as interesting. And I love having people, especially 49er fans, engage with me in the chat, in them comments. So let's say what's up to the people in the comment section. We got Alejandro. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Alejandro. Hopefully you're having an excellent Thursday night. I wanted to start off with a question for you guys. Let's start off with a question. We will get into all the latest, 49ers news, Seahawks news, things like that. But let's get into the first question that I have for you guys. Who do you guys think will step up in Debo's absence? Debo has had a Pro Bowl, all pro type year with the 49ers. Who knew he would be able to run the ball as effectively he has? Outside of Elijah Mitchell, Debo Samuel has been the best offensive playmaker on this team. There's no doubt about that. Who's going to replace his running production? Who's going to replace his receiving production? So yeah, let me know in them comments. Who do you guys think will step up in Debo's absence? Personally, I think Elijah Mitchell, he's going to get his touches regardless. Elijah Mitchell, he's going to get his carries whether Debo was starting or not. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. should see an increased role. The Seattle Seahawks defense, and we'll definitely go over it, it's one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They're terrible in pass defense. They're terrible in run defense. So there will be opportunities for this 49ers offense to flourish. Make no mistake about it. But if I'm thinking of who's going to be the next biggest player to step up in Debo's absence, I'm going to say Juwan Jennings. I think Juwan Jennings has definitely come along these last few weeks. He should have had 2 touchdown catches last week, but I think we got to get Juwan Jennings involved more. I mean, we already know the Ayuk show and Kittle will be involved more, but I think we need to see more production from Juwan Jennings. He is. I believe Matt Mayoko said that Juwan Jennings would be the number 2 wide receiver besides Ayuk. So expect to see more of Juwan Jennings, and I expect his production to increase in this game. But yeah, who do you guys think will step up in Debo's absence? Let me know in them comments. And I appreciate everyone. Leave a thumbs up for the chat. Let me know that you're enjoying the stream and let YouTube know as well. Huge shout out, a hot diggity dog. The Blue True, appreciate that $5 super sticker. Blue True, thank you for your continued support. Let's continue to say what's up to the people in them comments. We got NYC 1030 in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, NYCE. How is your Thursday night going? We have a queen in the building. What's good? Queen B, thanks for tuning in to the stream. How is your Thursday night going? Queen B says hello to everyone. David McNew, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, D. David says Russell Wilson's throws have been off since the injury. I would agree. It seems like when he has time in the pocket and he's still within the pocket, he can still make the throws. But it seems like when he's on the run, shout out to the 49ers cutback, but when he's on the run, his accuracy is not the same as when he's in the pocket. So when Russell Wilson's on the run, and it's crazy because that's one of Russell Wilson's best traits is his maneuverability in the pocket, getting outside the pocket, rolling to the left, rolling to the right, and throwing that rock on the run. But since the injury, and it's crazy, it's a terrible injury for anyone, but especially a quarterback when you have a broken finger, on your throwing hand. And obviously he's not able to grip the ball as he used to pre-injury. And it seems like when he's on the run, his accuracy just isn't the same. So, David, you're absolutely right. And, this offense is not the same. Ever since, Chris Carson, he's a good running back when he's healthy. But, the Seahawks signed him in the offseason. They gave him additional years on his contract. But unfortunately, Chris Carson, he just can't stay healthy. That's been, a huge deal, a huge problem in his career. I think Chris Carson was a 7th round pick too. So, I mean, he's had a hell of a career, but unfortunately, he just can't stay on the field. And the Seattle Seahawks offense is suffering because, this team is basically just a one-dimensional team. They can't control the clock. I think they've had the ball for about 25 minutes or less in the last 3 games. So that's just not how you win football games. And this offense, I think the Niners are meeting this team at the perfect time, man. That's for sure. Let's see. I think we have a super chat. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, JKS. JKS, he also is a huge fan of JB and M Sports Fanatic. Shout out to you, JB and M. JK, 80s horror fan, appreciate that donation to the channel. He says, Jay in the Bay, JB said you're going to do a commercial with Baker. Is that true? Yeah, that's funny that, JB, it is kind of annoying, though, seeing Baker on so many commercials, and we're talking about Baker Mayfield real quick. Yeah, he is on a lot of commercials. It's literally every other commercial. It's kind of annoying, and he's not playing, at a great level right now. He's struggling. But no, I will not be in the commercial with Baker, man. But thanks for checking out my stream, man, and I appreciate that super chat, man. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday night, man. Now let's continue on with these comments. KD, what's good? How you doing on a Thursday night, KD? KD says hello, Jay in the Bay. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. And for those that have just tuned in, I appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to Jay in the Bay. And also answer the question on the ticker. Who will step up in Debo's absence? Unfortunately, we know Debo suffered that groin injury. He at least will be out this Sunday versus Seattle, and we'll see what his status is versus the Bengals. Debo said himself that he does plan on playing against the Bengals, but we'll see how next week progresses. We obviously hope he's there, but you don't want him to come back too soon and re-aggravate that groin injury. Queen B says, David, well, ligaments cannot be repaired 100%. I would say they can be repaired, but Russell Wilson, he's coming back the soonest he can. And let's be real, he is constantly gripping the football. Obviously, he throws with his right hand. And he's going through the motions. He's toughing it out, and much respect to him for doing that. But it's not going to be the same. He really needs to allow that finger to heal and recover. But Russell Wilson wants to give it his all, and obviously he came back as soon as he could. But it's going to be hard for it to continue to heal when he's constantly gripping and throwing a football. So maybe if it was on his non-throwing hand, obviously he wouldn't be as affected by that. But unfortunately for him and the Seahawks, it's on his throwing hand. Let's see. David says we need to silence the 12th man and make Pete Carroll spit his gum out. Ayuk, Kittle, Jennings, and Sherfield, we need the whole crew to step up. No, I completely agree. With that. And the one way we silence the 12th man in Seattle is by winning the time of possession, converting multiple third downs, having long drives, and just running the ball down their throat. Seattle, they have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And let me pull this up real quick. Yeah, Seattle is they're one of the worst defenses in the NFL. If we look at their rushing yards allowed, so right now we're on the NFL team total defensive stats. If we look at their rushing yards allowed, they are at the bottom. So we look at their rushing yards allowed right now. Seattle Seahawks, they're not at the bottom, but they are in the bottom 10. Seattle Seahawks are right here. And their rushing yards, they're allowing 124 rushing yards per game on average. And that's bottom 10 in the NFL. And it's only separating 20 yards from the worst team, which is surprisingly the LA Chargers. They can't stop the run. But Seattle Seahawks, they're allowing 124 rushing yards per game. That's just terrible. And I think, obviously, we know that's what the 49ers want to do. The 49ers want to run the ball. The 49ers want to control the clock. And I think we will do that against the Seattle Seahawks front. If you look at Seattle's stats, they're one of the worst defenses in the NFL as far as total defense. They can't get after the quarterback. They have the third least amount of sacks in the NFL. So they don't do anything well really on defense. They can't sack the quarterback. They can't stop the run. They're not good against the pass. But that is funny. Yeah, that would be nice to see Pete Carroll spit that gum out. That would be pretty good, man. David also says Ayuk, Kittle, Jennings, and Sherfield, we need the whole crew to step up. I agree. I think we will see more involvement. We're going to need Jimmy G to step up too. Jimmy G had a subpar performance last week against the Vikings. He had some great throws, but then he has some Jimmy no throws, and unfortunately, that's part of Jimmy G's game. He's going to have a game like last week where he was inaccurate, throwing high, threw that one interception, and then he'll also have games, in the previous 3 games of our 3-game winning streak where, or I should say the previous 3 games where we're 2-1. The Jimmy had a pretty good game. He had pretty good games in the last 3 games. So we're going to need another efficient performance from Jimmy G, that's for sure, in addition to the gentleman you just mentioned. But we're going to need the entire offensive players to step up. That's for sure. NYCE says Juwan Jennings will make an impact, but Kittle is going to make a huge mark on this game. Hey, I agree. Kittle, he was more used in the run blocking game last week. He didn't really have many catches, and he did not have a touchdown catch in that game. Actually, no, wait, against Minnesota, I think he did have a touchdown catch. I think he did. I think him and Ayuk had touchdown catches. But I think Kittle in this game, I think he will be more utilized for sure. And I think he'll get another touchdown catch. That's for sure. Let's see. Alejandro says Juwan Jennings as a player that needs to step up in Debo's absence. Okay. Let's see. My evening is going really well, Queen B. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. I appreciate that. Rhino, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Rhino. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to hit that like button and also subscribe to Jay and the Bay. I'll talk about everything 49ers. And Rhino says Travis Benjamin will be Deebo Samuel in this game. Interesting. Okay. That's someone's name I was not expecting. But Travis Benjamin, I believe he got in the last game. I saw him out there for a few snaps. But Matt Mayoko, the writer for the 49ers, he suggested that Juwan Jennings would start opposite of Ayuk. But after that, I guess Travis Benjamin basically would be the next man up. But we'll see. We'll see if he has, a standout game. I would be surprised, but hey, I'm definitely not against it. That's for sure. Kimbo, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Kimbo. How's your Thursday night going? Joseph Mahoney, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. I know you're happy, Joseph Mahoney. That Jimmy G has been the catalyst in this 49ers team, on this 3-game winning streak that we had so far. Hopefully we can make it 4. Hopefully we can make it 4 against Seattle. And I wore this Jimmy G jersey just for you, Joseph, just for you. Joseph says, Cowgirl need Jimmy so I can say that's my quarterback. That's pretty good. Queen B with the update. Next milestone's 2K. Looking forward to that. Definitely on my way. That's for sure. Appreciate all the support. Andre, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Dre. Dre says, what's good? Our tight end and fullback have to bring it. Seattle has our number. We need to change our approach. Now that's, you bring up a great point. I looked up the stat. I wanted to know, hey, well, what's Russell Wilson's record and the Seattle Seahawks record versus the 49ers? Russell Wilson was drafted in 2010, and the Seahawks actually have beaten the 49ers 15 out of 19 times since Russell Wilson has been the starting quarterback. I mean, that's incredible. There's definitely been some lean years prior to Harbaugh, being hired as a head coach. And there obviously were some terrible years after Harbaugh was fired. So, Russell Wilson has had our number. I think this is, if they don't make the playoffs, I believe this will probably be the first time that the Seahawks have not made it to the playoffs. So that is, that's crazy, the amount of success they've had. Yeah, so that's crazy, the amount of success that the Seahawks have had, especially just in general in the NFC West and also in the NFL. Let's see. Luke Luna, what's good? Appreciate that $2 donation to the channel, man. Thank you, Luke Luna. Luke says, have a good night, Faithful Jay. I'll see you next time. No problem, man. Thanks for coming through, and I'll see you on the next live stream, man. And for those that have just tuned in, feel free to answer the question at the bottom of the screen. who will step up in Debo's absence? Let me know in them comments. All right, so let's continue on with the comments. Let's see. Queen B says, Jay, the age factor of any athlete and the injuries each one has will not completely heal 100%. That's what I was referring to in my comment you read. Yeah, no, I would agree. Every player, heals at a different rate, at a different pace. And yeah, you're right. Some injuries they will never be how they once were, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, hopefully for Russell Wilson's sake and whichever team he plays with next year, that thumb will get much better. But who knows? But yeah, I appreciate your insight though, Queen B. Joseph says it's about time you say Jimmy G needs to step up. Mia told him to step up his game too. That's cool. No, but I got to be real though. I try to be objective. I try to be transparent. And Jimmy G did not put on his best performance last week. If Jimmy has a 17 of 26 game, that's not good enough. That's not good enough for Jimmy G. He needs to be under. I would say the amount of attempts were fine, but I think he should, be like 20 of 26, maybe 21 of 26. He definitely needs to be more accurate and, of course, eliminate those turnovers. But I appreciate your comment, Joe. Roberto, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Roberto. How was your Thursday night going? Let's see. Queen B says, well, Joseph, more people should tell other people to step it up. Yeah, and, Jimmy, he's the quarterback. He touches the ball every snap. He's got to take a lot of responsibility, that's for sure. But this is a team game, and especially this Sunday without Debo, without Fred Warner, this whole team will have to step up and put forth their best effort. That's for sure. But we've seen that the last month. So and I think that will continue against Seattle. Edward, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Edward. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate your contributions to the show today. Hopefully you're having an excellent Thursday night. David says, at linebacker, we are thin. Warner and Greenlaw have been ruled out. Harris is in concussion protocol. Should we move Samson Ibuka back to linebacker for a game? I would say no. And let me pull up, since you mentioned players who are out, let me pull up the 49ers latest practice news. So this is the latest 49ers practice news, players that are active today in practice and players that were not active in practice. I would say, I would surmise that, Talanoa Hufanga, I think he could possibly play some linebacker. And I know Hufanga, he's a rookie, but he did make some mistakes in the secondary in the game against Minnesota Vikings. He allowed Thielen to get open, at least on one occasion. I think it was a route Justin Jefferson ran underneath, and Hufanga, who was playing, deep safety, you can't let anyone behind you. He followed Jefferson, completely forgot about Thielen, and Thielen went behind him and scored a touchdown. That was on him, and I believe it was on 2 touchdown catches for Thielen, where Hufanga made a rookie mistake, and I can live with that. These are growing pains. But I think, since you mentioned our linebackers are thin, it's going to be Aziz, it's going to be Flanagan Fowles, and I think Hufanga will probably get in there, especially if Harris can't pass the concussion protocol, and he did not practice today. So if Harris can't play, I think we'll see Hufanga in there more at that linebacker position, because Hufanga, he's fast on the field, and I mean, he doesn't have that Tyreek Hill speed, obviously, but he's just always around the ball. He's a willing tackler, and I think that's where he's at his best right now. It's closer to the line of scrimmage rather than in coverage at this point. So yeah, I think Hufanga. I want to see Hufanga in there at the linebacker position if Harris can go. due to him being in the concussion protocol. But great question though, David. Great question. And it's unfortunate with Dre Greenlaw. It seems like he might have came back too soon from that injury he suffered, the growing injury, because it looked like he re-aggravated it, in the game against the Vikings. So very unfortunate for Greenlaw. And hopefully the Warner hamstring injury won't be it's not severe, it's not torn, he's not on IR, but he will be out this game, and we'll see how he will be reevaluated next week. I think Samson is best at rushing the passer, and I think that's what he'll do. But great question though. And as far as the 49ers practice news today, running back Trey Sermon, Kyle Shanahan mentioned that he could be placed on IR. But he hasn't been yet, but he has not practiced all week. Unfortunately for running back Trey Sermon, we saw he suffered that high ankle sprain in the game against the Vikings. I believe that was on a special teams play, I think. We know Dre Greenlaw is not active. He's not practicing right now. I believe he's been ruled out this Sunday. Marcel Harris is still in the concussion protocol. We know Debo and Fred have been ruled out this week. But obviously, none of those players are practicing. Trey Sermon, Greenlaw, Marcel Harris, Debo, Fred Warner. With Marcel Harris, he is the only player, I think, from that list of names that actually has a chance to play on Sunday, but it just depends on, if he can pass that concussion protocol. So he will be reevaluated, tomorrow, Saturday, and hopefully he can play. Limited participation, JaMycal Hasty. He's still recovering from that ankle injury, and Maurice Hurst as well. So they're limited participation. They're not practicing with the team. They're just doing individual drills at this point. Great news. Elijah Mitchell, he's a full participant practicing because the past few weeks he's been a limited participant. So it's good to see that, Elijah Mitchell is, getting healthier at this point in the season. And Kentavious Street is a full participant in today's practice as well. So that's good news. Let's continue on with these comments. Let's see. Jerry Ma, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Jerry. He says, will Trent Sherfield line up in the slot? I would imagine, Trent Sherfield, I think he is the third receiver on the depth chart. But it would be interesting to see Juwan Jennings line up, in the slot. He is a bigger body wide receiver. And obviously Shanahan values wide receivers who can block. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw both. Sometimes Sherfield will line up outside the numbers with Ayuk, and then sometimes you'd have Jennings line up in the slot as well, due to his blocking ability. I think he's an excellent blocker. And corners, he pretty much is bigger than any corner he lines up with. Juwan Jennings is. So I would imagine both players will be in the slot. And maybe Juwan Jennings a little bit more because of his blocking ability. But great question, Jerry. Let's see. As Queen Bee says, I appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button. Luke Luna says, just wanted to like the video and show some love. Just got home. My baby's asleep. Got to get situated. Hey, I totally understand, Double L. But thanks for tuning in, or thanks for coming in, hitting that like button. I appreciate it, man. I'll see you on the next one. And Queen Bee says, new people, put that bell notification to all. I appreciate that, especially if you're a new subscriber. That way you know when I go live or when I put out new videos. So shout out to Queen Bee. I appreciate that. Edward says, remember Seattle had our number. It's a new decade. Now, that is true, though. It is a new decade, but, Seattle has had our number. 15-4 record since Seattle has been there. That's crazy amount of success they've had. And it seems like that's all coming to an end. There's a lot of turmoil right now in the Seattle Seahawks organization. No telling if Russ Wilson or Pete Carroll will be there next year. And this Seattle Seahawks team is they're not playing well. They're on a 3-game losing streak. I feel like we are facing the Seahawks at the perfect time. And it'll still be an interesting game, though, because you can't really count out the Seahawks. They're at home. They're playing in front of the 12th man. And they got Russell Wilson. And they still have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So you still have to worry about those players. Let's see. David says he likes the thought of Hufanga at linebacker. Agreed. Yeah. And he's played a little bit. I would say I don't know if he's played linebacker a little bit this year. I would say that he's lined up like near the line of scrimmage, like he's going to blitz, or he's lined up around the line of scrimmage a lot this season. So I won't be surprised if we see Hufanga at the linebacker position, or at least if he's at the safety, he's going to help as far as stopping the run and getting after Russell Wilson. That's what I would that's what I would think we would see, especially since we're so thin at the linebacker position. Joseph says, I think we will see Lance at some point. 5 to 15 plays. Wouldn't surprise me if they put Lance at running back. Just saying. That's interesting. I don't know. I would be surprised by that. Lance really hasn't gotten in the game so far, within this win streak. He's basically been non-existent. I would be surprised by that. But I wouldn't mind it. If we need a spark, if we need another weapon, why not? Why not bring in Trey? Use all your chess pieces on the board and do what's best for the team. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I would be surprised, but we'll see what happens. I think we will see more of Jeff Wilson Jr. That's what I'm hoping to see. I know he hasn't had any huge runs or anything, but I think I would rather see, I don't know how you guys feel, but I would rather see Elijah Mitchell run outside the numbers. We don't need him to run in between the tackles, even though he is pretty good at it. Like he will, break a tackle, gain a few yards. But I think Jeff Wilson Jr. can do that as well. Allow Jeff Wilson Jr. to run up the middle and allow Elijah Mitchell to run outside. I would want to see more of Jeff Wilson Jr. He didn't really play that much last week. I want to say he had less than 2 or 3 carries. So hopefully we see more of Jeff Wilson Jr., especially with Deebo Samuel's absence. Let's see. Andre says, Cheating Pete has been able to use his defensive mind to kill our quarterbacks all these years. Jimmy needs to bring the swagger and patience we need to end their season. I completely agree. I feel like they are on the edge of, a losing season. And I believe this would be the first losing season in Russell Wilson's career. I believe he's made the playoffs, or at least had a winning record every year he's been in Seattle. So this would be a crazy year, from a Seattle Seahawks standpoint. But I think it's still going to be a tough game because we're going up against Russell and his receivers. But I think they are a one-dimensional offense at this point. They don't run the ball effectively. On defense, they can't get after the quarterback. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. And as I mentioned before, I think we're meeting the Seahawks at the right time, at the perfect time, man. But I appreciate your comment, Andre. I had another question for you guys, for the MVPs in the chat. We will be without Fred Warner in this game. And obviously he is, outside of Bosa, the best linebacker in the NFL, and he's one of the best players on the defense, no doubt. But, can the 49ers continue forcing turnovers? Can the 49ers continue to be a stellar defense without Fred Warner? I think obviously Bosa, he's going to continue to do his job. He's going to continue to get after the quarterback. Jimmy Ward has been a really good player, especially with turning over the ball. We've seen his leadership on the field. But the 49ers in the last 3 games, we forced 6 turnovers. This is a complete 360 from where we started at the beginning of the year, where, we had 2 turnovers in the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season. So hopefully we can keep this up. Shout out. I know people love him or hate him. Well, I would say more people dislike him. Josh Norman. Josh Norman, he's not the player he was in Carolina or even in Washington. I love the attitude
the tenacity he brings to the position. I love that about him. Sometimes he can go over the line. He's got to reel it in a little bit, but I love the physical nature he brings to the position. Kind of reminds me of Richard Sherman. You know, obviously their athletic gifts are behind them. They're no longer in the prime of their career, but I love the physicalness he brings to the position. I love that Josh Norman, he leads the NFL in forced fumbles at the cornerback position. How can you not love that? You know, he turns the ball over. So can the 49ers, that's my question for the chat. Do you guys think the 49ers can continue forcing turnovers at this rate? We've got 6 turnovers in the last 3 games, and that's definitely helped us in this 3-game win streak. That's for sure. So hopefully the defense can still be an attacking, a defense and make forcing turnovers a priority, because I think we have. And hopefully the other defensive players are learning from Josh Norman about that peanut punch. He had one against Minnesota, but we just didn't recover the ball. So I think that could be a key in this game against Seattle is, forcing turnovers and giving the 49ers offense more opportunities, to score. Luke Luna, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your donation to the chat, man. Or I should say, appreciate your donation to the channel, man. I appreciate that, Luke Luna. Let's see. Rhino says, on Monday, when Debo was ruled out, someone asked Kyle who will replace Debo. Shanahan said he wants to get Travis Benjamin more touches. Okay. And his highlights are something else. Sunday will be exciting. Yeah, Travis Benjamin, he's definitely, one of the faster receivers on this team. I welcome any and all production from Travis Benjamin. I think we will see an increase in production. Obviously, Mitchell, Ayuk, and Kittle will be probably the 3 most productive players on Sunday, if I had to guess. Next, I would surmise, Jeff Wilson Jr., Jawan Jennings. And if we saw Travis Benjamin, that'd be excellent. And because he is fast, so let's see what he can do with the ball in his hands. But appreciate the comment, Rhino. Joseph says Hufanga effed up on the flea flicker and left Thielen was wide open down the left sideline. Wasn't a TD though. Yeah, that was another play. And I think Thielen had 2 touchdown catches against us, and I know one of them Hufanga should not have allowed that touchdown. And I'm trying to remember the second one. It might have been Hufanga as well. But he's a rookie. He's a young guy. He's got a promising future, but that's not his strength right now, as far as zone coverage. These are just growing pains for him, and I'm sure he will continue to get better. That's for sure. CG Ruthless Sports, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, CG. How is your Thursday night going, man? Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. David says, CG, I have been watching for the Larry Krueger stream. Yeah, I think that comes on tonight on CG Ruthless channel, man. I got to check that out. But shout out to you, CG. Keep doing big things, man. Andre says, Andre says, it's going to be hard. We need stops on third downs. Can't live by the hope we knock one out of their hands. Usually we give up yards and miss tackles, relying on punching it out. I mean, Norman has been pretty successful at doing it. And obviously the best time to do the punch out is when your teammates are around you. So if Josh Norman is on, and sometimes I've seen it where Josh Norman is on an island, he'll wrap up on one side and then punch out the ball with his other hand. And usually one of his teammates is near him. So I would say Josh Norman continue being aggressive. Let's be real. That is, one of the, Josh Norman, that's what he brings to the position. He's a veteran. He's physical, and he's got the peanut punch. Those are his best traits. So we know he's not good in coverage. So, I think that's why he continues to start at that cornerback position. We know Shanahan loves his vets, but also Norman, he's opportunistic on the defensive side of the ball. He loves to punch that ball out. So, I can't as far as that aspect of him, Josh Norman, what can you not love about that, right? I mean, he's causing turnovers. He's causing more opportunities for our offense to get the ball and score. So I think this is something that we need to continue to do because clearly Josh Norman is good at it. That's for sure. And hopefully his teammates are learning from Josh Norman, man. NYCE says, "Hey Jay, Josh Norman is the Deion Sanders of the Niners DBs this year. LOL. Deion drove some players back then crazy. LOL. Josh brings that dog. Exactly. He brings that dog that we need. He brings that physicalness. He brings that toughness, similar to what Richard Sherman brought. And I think that's why Josh Norman is still on this team. You know, because we could have easily cut Norman and kept Drake Kirkpatrick, but we did the exact opposite. You know, so I think Josh Norman should continue doing what he's doing, continue playing aggressive, continue to be physical with the opponents, and I think those are some of his best traits. Point blank. My next question for the chat for the MVPs: can Jimmy G throw for 300 yards versus Seattle? Will he need to throw for 300 yards versus Seattle? That's a great question. I think obviously we will run the ball. We're going to win the time of possession in this game. I would imagine we'd have the ball at least 35 minutes in this game. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. and Elijah Mitchell will get the bulk of the carries. But hell, Jimmy G, he could throw for 300 yards against this pass defense. It's one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. I mean, this defense just doesn't do anything right. This defense doesn't do anything right. Hell, maybe they'll prove me wrong on Sunday, but so far this season, take a look at the stats. Seattle Seahawks, they rank last. They are last in passing yards average per game. They give up almost 400 yards a game. And let's say this is total yards. They give up 400 yards of offense to the opponent. They're averaging 400 yards. That's just crazy. And in passing yards, they're the worst. They're giving up an average of 274 passing yards per game. So Jimmy G should have a field day. And as I mentioned before, the Seattle Seahawks, they can't get after the quarterback. They sacked the quarterback, one of the three worst teams in the NFL, and getting after the quarterback. So that means what that means for the 49ers offense is Jimmy G will have a clean pocket to throw from. Jimmy G will be able to look to the right and look to the left. Jimmy G should have plenty of time, and I think he should eat up this secondary. Absolutely. Make no mistake about it. I think Jimmy G should have a great game. I don't think he'll be pressured much. At least Seattle Seahawks haven't shown that they can get after the quarterback, so I think that will continue. Trent Williams is having an excellent year. Tom Compton, say what you want about Tom Compton. He's been having a solid year. He's been keeping up his end of the bargain. He hasn't really allowed many sacks this season, not that I've seen. He's not great, but he's solid. He's not allowing. Let's just say this: he's not allowing Jimmy G to get sacked on his side. That's for sure. And he's playing decent. So, but yeah, I think Jimmy G, he could throw for over 300 yards in this game against Seattle. That's for sure. What do you guys think? Let me know in them comments. Let's see. Joseph. All right. Joseph has a prediction. He says Josh Norman will get a pick this week. Okay. All right. Hey, I like that. Hey, we'll see what happens. But speaking of our cornerbacks, Emmanuel Mosley, he's having an excellent year. I believe I saw a stat. He hasn't allowed a touchdown catch all year. Or at least I think it was in the last 54 snaps or something like that. So Emmanuel Mosley's having a great year. K'Wan Williams, he's having an excellent year as well. And it's funny because the 49ers secondary, if we look at the stats, the 49ers secondary is actually pretty good. Let me pull this up. We look at the 49ers secondary this year. We are right behind the Arizona Cardinals. Right now we're sixth in the league, allowing 318 total yards a game. And passing yards, we are seventh in the league. We're allowing only 207 passing yards. So pretty good in total yards defense, passing yards allowed. So this defense has been playing pretty well, no doubt about it. And I think that will continue this Sunday against the Seahawks. But you never know because Russell Wilson, he is a beast, man. You never know. But I like our chances. We are playing defense the best we've had all season in the last 3 or 4 games. Let's see. NYCE says if we are running the ball successfully, Jimmy won't need to throw for 300. That's what I love about Jimmy. He is not worried about stats, but about winning the game by any means necessary. No, that's very true. I think he can throw. Like if Shanahan said, "Hey, let's just say if the Seahawks slow down the running game, right, which is highly unlikely, but if the Seahawks do slow down the running game, which I don't think will happen, I think Jimmy G can throw for over 300 yards versus this pass defense. As I illustrated, it's just terrible. It's one of the worst in the NFL. But yeah, if we're able to control the clock, let's say we have the clock for 38, 40 minutes, we run the ball at least 35 times. Yeah, you're right. Jimmy G will not most likely throw for 300 yards. Hell, he may not even have more than 25 pass attempts if we're able to do that. So ideally, I'd like to have that type of game. We win the time of possession. We're running the ball more than 35 times a game. I'm happy with that. And basically, if that happens, Jimmy G just doesn't need to turn over the ball, and we should be able to win that game pretty easily. Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Jerry Ma. Hopefully you have a great payday Friday tomorrow, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. David says, Sea Chickens play like a team of Pro Bowlers against us, though. Hopefully we are hungry for Sea Chicken stew this Sunday. I like that. Yeah, I mean, as a fan, short for fanatic, I can say, hey, this game should be pretty easy, right? Like, on paper, the Seahawks, they're in turmoil. They lost 3 straight. We've won 3 straight. But as the players who are playing, they have to approach this game like so. They need to win. We need to win out. When the teams meet on the field, the records don't matter, right? The players still have to play. The 12th man is still going to be loud in Seattle. That's one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. And this is a rivalry game. Both teams know each other really well. The Seahawks beat us at Levi's earlier this year, 28-21. So I think the players will definitely be up for this game. And the Seattle Seahawks players will not lay down. They're going to give their all, that's for sure. But I just think we have an edge on Sunday, I think. Let's see. Joseph just informed us that the Saints lost. Hey, no surprise there. NYCE says, can't never say never. Any given Sunday, a team can wake up and make plays. That's why they're in the NFL. Some said the same thing about Arizona and Seattle got their starters. Now, I agree. And as I mentioned, as a fan, I can say, hey, this should be a fairly easy game just based on where these two franchises are headed. 49ers are trying to get into the playoffs. The Seahawks are, they don't know what they're doing. Their franchise right now is in shambles. Their future is uncertain. But any given Sunday, like you say, man, and the Seahawks, they still got Russ. But I just think we should win this game. But as you mentioned, I thought we should have won the game against Arizona when they had Colt McCoy starting at quarterback. But you never know. But I think on paper, we should win this game. We have the hot hand, so to speak. We're just playing much better right now than the Seahawks. And I would be very surprised. Now, can Russell Wilson make some throws? Can he hit his wide receivers deep? Yes. But I think our offense should not face much resistance against this defense, I don't think. And we will be playing against, I believe, Kerry Hyder's available. So we will be playing against Kerry Hyder, Carlos Dunlap. Now, those two ends can put pressure on the quarterback, but they don't sack the quarterback too much this year. They're one of the worst teams as far as sacking the quarterback. So I don't see. I think Jimmy G should have a clean pocket to throw from, and more times than not. Um, and like I said, their secondary is not good. They still got Bobby Wags. They still got Bobby Wagner, and he's still, a hell of a linebacker, but he can't do it all by himself. Jamal Adams, he hasn't really made the impact on this defense that the Seattle Seahawks thought he would, at least this year. Let's see. Corey Davis, he says, I hope Jimmy G have a good game, but I hope running game has over 300 yards. Wow. Going out on a limb there, 300 yards rushing. Hey, that would be incredible. NYC says, hey, Jay, where does Jimmy rank amongst the other quarterbacks in the NFL this season? Wow. That's a hell of a question, NYCE. I don't think he's top 10. I don't think he's bottom 10. So that would leave 11 through 21. I think Jimmy G is somewhere in there. When Jimmy G plays his best, he could be 11 through 15. When Jimmy G doesn't play so good, he could be out of that 11 through 21 range. But yeah, I would say he's right in the middle, 11 through 21. I think he's in the middle of the pack. What say you, NYCE? Where do you think Jimmy G ranks in the top 32 of all NFL quarterbacks? Let me know in them comments. Joseph has a prediction for the game. He says Jimmy won't throw for 200 yards, let alone 300. We are going to pound that rock. And I would say ideally, yes. If I could say Jimmy's going to throw 22 passes, we run the ball 40 times, I will take that every game. Because that means we're winning on third down, winning the time of possession, moving the ball down the field, and that means the Seattle Seahawks offense is off the field. So I would take that any day. The Cardinal Rule. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, TCR. I know the Cardinal Rule is very happy about his Arizona Cardinals this year. They're having an excellent year. I hear that Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins will be back this Sunday. So I know that's good news for the Arizona Cardinals fans. And hey, I gotta tip my hat. Cardinals do lead the NFC West division, I believe, with a record of 9-2. And hell, they're one of the best NFC teams, in the NFL. There's no doubt about that. And it'll be interesting to see if they make the playoffs and how far they'll go in the playoffs. That's for sure. Joseph Mahoney, he says, when does Jimmy look to the right, look to the left? Haha, someone tell Jimmy that's legal to do. He doesn't do it all the time, but there's definitely times when, Jimmy G, the 49ers break the huddle. The players walk to the line of scrimmage. Jimmy G gets under center like this. Gets under center, right? Jimmy G's obviously surveying the defense. He's seeing what type of defensive coverage they're running. Jimmy G takes the snap. And yeah, he'll look to the right. He'll look to the left. And he goes through his progressions. He goes through his reads. Joey, I know you see it, Joseph. I know you see him going through his progressions, his reads. Obviously, that's a lot easier to do when you have a clean pocket. When you can sit there in the pocket after you hike the ball for about 3-4 seconds, maybe even 5 seconds. And when Jimmy G has a clean pocket, he can make the throws. We've seen it. That's for sure. Flamingo, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Flamingo. Flamingo says, LOL, I don't watch soccer, but this is interesting. Okay. Well, we're talking about American football over here, Flamingo. But thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Blue True, $5 super chat. Blue True says, go Niners. Get this win against the Hawks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate that donation, Blue True. David says, Jimmy G is average. Number 16, he occasionally has a great game. I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree. And 11 through 21 on his best day, he can creep up between maybe 11 and 13 at the top 32 NFL quarterbacks. But yes, he is average, but he can have an above average game, and then he can also have, which we've seen it, a below average game. So let's see the cardinal rule. How what an astute observation of you, the cardinal rule. He says, for what it's worth, Jimmy G currently ranks 22nd in passing grade according to PFF. That's a great observation. Now, if you look at the last 4 games, I know the if we take out the Vikings game, those 3 games where we had that winning streak, that was, I believe PFF said that he was ranked the number 1 quarterback in the 3 games prior to the Vikings game. If you guys can believe that. That's what I saw in those 3 games. Now, obviously last week it wasn't very good. But we've seen it. When Jimmy G has a clean pocket, he can make the throws. But we don't know which Jimmy G we're going to get. And that's part of the problem with Jimmy. But let's see. Flamingo says, "Oh, I thought this was football." Yeah, American football, Flamingo. But make sure you drop that like button. Hit that like button. I would appreciate it. But that was a great question by NYCE asking, who, as far as what would I rank Jimmy G as far as in the top 32 NFL quarterbacks? Great question. There was some other news about the Seattle Seahawks. They signed running back Adrian Peterson. Wow, they are they are really, really desperate, the Seahawks. I mean, that's for sure, man. But I appreciate everyone in the comment section tonight. You guys are the real MVPs. Shout out to Blue True, Luke Luna. Let's see. I believe JKS. He also left a super chat. Appreciate the super chats tonight. And I think we might have another. Let's see. Oh, the Cardinal Rule says, looking at the game-by-game PFF grades, it appears that Jimmy G started playing much better from week 8 and on. Yes, he hit his stride. I believe it started, top of my head, I believe it started with the Chicago game. I think that's when he really, hit his stride. And he played some of his best football this season. And I think part of the reason for that was, he had a clean pocket to throw from. Jimmy G, I don't think he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks, but in terms of hurries, I would love to see the stat because Jimmy G does not do well when he is hurried. It speeds up his reading the defense. And that's not good for a quarterback, especially for a quarterback like Jimmy G, who's not mobile. He doesn't do a great job of sensing the rush, so he takes some sacks that you would hope he wouldn't. But yeah, since Chicago, he's played pretty well, and that's the good Jimmy that we've seen, and hopefully we'll see even more of that for the duration of the season. But I appreciate you looking that up, TCR. Flamingo says, looking at the game-by-game PF. Yep, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Joseph Mahoney, this must be a typo. What do you mean? Rank 32. What are you talking about, Joe? This got to be a typo, Joseph. That got to be a typo, Joe. Let's see. The Cardinal Rule says, yep, Chicago was first. Good grade. Yeah. He obviously, Jimmy G plays his best when he has, a consistent running game he can rely on. He'll work off play action. I think Jimmy G, he's looked good to me in shotgun. There's no running back in the backfield. He can survey the field. He has more time. He's not under center because we've seen Kyle Shanahan put Jimmy G in those situations where he's in the shotgun. There's about 4 or 5 wide receivers, or it could be 4 wide receivers in Kittle. And we've seen, Jimmy make good reads. And the thing about Jimmy is his accuracy. And sometimes he doesn't see, like, for instance, that interception he had against Harrison Smith and the Vikings. Like, how do you not see that safety there? And also sometimes Jimmy throws high. But that's part of Jimmy G. That's a part of his that's a part of him as a football player. Sometimes he throws high. Let's see. It seems to be that way, TCR. David Renteria. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, DR. I know DR as well as the Cardinal Rule are very excited about their Arizona Cardinals. Like I said before, they're 9-2. I know you're happy about your squad, DR. I hear Kyler Murray and D Hop are coming back, so that's definitely great news for the Arizona Cardinals. That's for sure. NYCE, LOL. Didn't the Sea Chickens do the same thing last year? LOL. They signed Lynch for that one game, and now they signed AP only in Seattle. Yeah, they're desperate, man. The Seahawks are desperate. They signed him to the practice squad, so there's no guarantee he's even going to be up on game day. The Seahawks, they have 2 running backs, I believe. Their names are escaping me right now, but they're going to lean on those backs unless otherwise, unless there's an injury. Cardinal Rule says the Suns also doing awesome. Good time to be Arizona fans. No, it is. Yeah, the Suns, they beat the Warriors, and I think that was in Phoenix. And I think they play the Warriors again in San Francisco. I think that's going to be tomorrow. So the Warriors will have a chance to get some revenge against the Suns. But that's going to be a interesting rivalry. The Suns and the Warriors could potentially meet in the playoffs. They're definitely 2 of the better teams in the Western Conference of the NBA. That's for sure. Joseph says, Jay, you've been drinking that tax tonight, huh? How Jimmy stares down one wide receiver and gets sacked. He never looks at his second read. I would say you're right. Sometimes he does stare down his number one receiver, but never looks at his second read. I wouldn't agree with that. I think it depends, of course, if he's getting pressured in the pocket. That has a huge factor in that. But yeah, there's no doubt. Jimmy, on more times than not, he does stare down his one wide receiver. But when he has time, I've seen it. You just look at his eyes; he's looking right, left. He doesn't do that. He's not the best quarterback as far as processing his reads, looking at multiple receivers. He's definitely not the best at that. That's for sure. But it is what it is at this point with Jimmy. Jimmy's not going to get better. He is who he is at this point. And Shanahan is going to ride with Jimmy at this point, So it is what it is. It is what it is, Joe. David Renteria says the Seahawks are going to win. What you talking about, DR? Let's see. The Cardinal Rule says Suns just won their 18th in a row tonight against Detroit, currently best record in NBA. Yeah, the Suns are looking pretty good. No doubt about that. And I hear Devin Booker, I heard Devin Booker got injured against the Warriors game, so it'd be interesting to see if he'll play against the Warriors on Friday, but we'll see. David says the Suns broke the franchise record. Okay. Hey, good for them. That's for sure. Good for them. But I just wanted to hop on. We already reached an hour of the stream. Man, that went by super fast. I just wanted to talk about, the latest 49ers news, preview a little bit of the game. I think the game is pretty simple for the 49ers and Seahawks. The 49ers want to run the ball, surprise, surprise, win the time of possession, convert on third downs, and limit Seattle's possessions. I think it comes down to that. And Seattle defense is just putrid as far as stopping the run, as far as stopping the pass. They're just one of the worst defenses in the NFL. But the Seattle Seahawks have that wild card, and that wild card is number 3. He's had our record. He's had our number, I should say, ever since he's been drafted in 2010. The Seahawks have a 15-4 record against the Niners. And when the teams meet on the field on Sunday in Seattle in front of the 12 men, throw the records out. But as a fan, I can say, oh yeah, we should be able to beat them easy. You know, at least I feel our offense should be able to execute pretty easily against this defense. But of course, the wild card is Russell Wilson. We know what he can do, but he's got that finger injury. He's still recovering from that finger surgery, and he hasn't been the same quarterback since he's been back, point blank. And I think that will benefit the 49ers greatly this Sunday. That's for sure. NYCE says, I looked at Jimmy against the other quarterbacks he's faced this year, and Jimmy has matched them stat for stat. I'm not saying Jimmy is an all-star and doesn't have flaws, but he brings that winning hunger. I would say that Jimmy has played much better in the last month. That's what I would say for sure. And I agree with you. He's not an all-star. He's most likely not going to a Pro Bowl, nothing like that. But this is the quarterback who Shanahan trusts the most, and we have to live with his flaws. It's that simple. Just like with Tom Compton at right tackle, Shanahan feels like he's the best option at right tackle, so he's going to start, and we're going to have to live with his flaws. So, that's what Jimmy is, and that's what we have to accept at this point. But I appreciate your comments, NYCE. Jay, another great show. Have a great rest of the night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey, same to you, NYCE. I appreciate your contributions to the stream tonight. Hopefully you have an excellent payday Friday, man. Thanks for tuning in. Landon says, hey, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Great that your Dallas Cowboys won tonight. They took care of the New Orleans Saints. And I appreciate everyone's contributions in the stream tonight. Luke Luna, JK, Blue True. Those are the people who gave super chats tonight. I think I mentioned Double L, Luke Luna. Yeah. So I appreciate everyone's contributions in the stream. And I appreciate everyone just being active. I appreciate it. I love to hear you guys' feedback. Looking forward to the game on Sunday, that's for sure. I will have another live stream Saturday morning with none other than Steezy A. Smith. For those that don't know, he is a Seattle Seahawks fan, and I will have a collab with Steezy A. Smith, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. That's going to be this Saturday morning. The thumbnail should be up, so you'll see it on YouTube. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, come through. It'll probably be about a 45-minute stream. And then, of course, on Sunday, I'll have the pregame live stream and the postgame. I'm looking forward to the game. I think the 49ers should be able to win this game, but I'm sure Russell Wilson will not make it easy. That's for sure. But everyone have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your payday Friday tomorrow. Shout out to you, the Cardinal Rule. Appreciate you too, man. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate that. And everyone have a great rest of your night. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Niners. See you Saturday morning if you can come through. Go Niners. See you then.